Are you a betting woman? Would you dare to bet on yourself? Well, that's exactly what Kaitlin Files did. Because when her biggest setback came out of nowhere, she took the dare. She bet on herself. And spoiler alert, it paid off. Hey, everybody, I'm Jodi Silverman, life coach, empowerment speaker, and your host of Dare On with Jodi. And it's all about daring more, doubting less, and living fully. In this episode of Dare On, you're going to meet Kaitlin, an attorney who went from furloughed and full of doubt to running her own law firm, coaching high school basketball and rewriting the script of what midlife could look like. This isn't just a story about career change. It's about silencing the doubt, tuning into your inner voice, and stepping into possibility, even when fear's still whispering in your ear. And if you're ready to stop playing small, I've got your first move. Grab the free self talk cleanup challenge. I linked it in the show notes because daring starts with how you talk to yourself. But before you do that, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Kaitlin. Welcome to Dare On with Jodi.
Hi, Jodi. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to have you today. I'm so excited to share your story. Your story like really is the foundation of what Dare On and what our goal is and our mission is with this show, which is to have women dare more, doubt less, and live fully. And when I met you through our friend Beth Allen, shout out
Oh,
to DIY
love
Hip
that.
Tips, and I knew that we were going to shift from Beyond Empty Nest to Dare On with Jodi. I knew that you were one of those people I want on the show. So thank you for saying yes.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored. Thank you for having me.
All right. Share to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, but save your story because your
Okay.
story is the Daring On episode. So just introduce yourself. What do you do? Maybe where you hail from in the world.
Sure. I'm Kaitlin Files. I'm an attorney. I grew up in Lower Bucks County and I live there now. I went to college out in Indiana, came back to Philadelphia for law school, and I opened up my own law firm in 2020 here in Lower Bucks County. So been moving and grooving since then.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, we're diving in. We're
Let's
diving
do
right
it. I'm
into
ready.
Daring On. So, you know that you hear me talk about, and everybody hears me talking about. We all have a daring moment. We actually have many daring moments in our life. Share a daring moment through your story with our listeners out there. A time where you had to face a moment, a daring moment head on, and how maybe fear or doubt, maybe all that popped up, and how you navigated through that.
It's funny you said we face many daring moments because the story I'm going to share felt like looking back on it now was my first big daring moment that then has since had a cascade of daring moments in all aspects of my life since then. And I just feel like it's been this beautiful waterfall of daring moments. But the biggest moment I feel like looked back on seeing a shift in my life is when I opened my law firm.
Mm.
And I was in a great law firm and I thought I was on the partner track. I was looking back, I was really just phoning it in. I'm not gonna lie, but it felt good. I was making money, I was doing things I love, and you know, COVID hit and I was furloughed and then later let go from this firm. And when I tell you, I felt like I had no purpose.
Mm.
I just felt, you wake up and I'm used to checking emails and I had nothing to do and no money coming in. And my future at the firm was gone. So I felt like I got the rug completely yanked down from under me. And for years, my dad had told me to open my own law firm. And I told him he was crazy. He was a crazy man. That was way outside of my capabilities. Why would he think I could open my own law firm? And so I'm there and I have no job. I have no money coming in. I have, to me, no future. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Let's see, if it was about 5 years ago, I was in my young 30s. And oh, I had two mortgages. I had no money in the bank.
Well, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I was not in a great place. And I sat there, I was looking for another job. I was thought about leaving the legal world and going into becoming a guidance counselor. I've always loved working with kids. And in the back of my mind, it was just nagging at me, why aren't you opening a law firm? So one day I sat down, I looked into it, and I really sat down. I was like, all right, what do I need? And I was like, I need liability insurance and a computer. That's all I need. I can run my own law firm. So I started to put it together, and I felt really embarrassed and really nervous to tell people I was doing because it could be a really big swing and a miss. I could
Wow.
get this out there and put myself out there, and I could fail.
All
It
right,
was
stop there. Stop there. I'm going to stop right there because we're going to continue. Remember where you left off.
okay.
But I have to point out a couple things. Number one, I want to thank you for being so open and sharing your story. I
Mhm.
think I don't think COVID did that to a lot of people
Yes.
because our lives came to a halt. People lost jobs, were put on temporary leave, and we're
Mhm.
sitting there left feeling lost without purpose. We're used to doing and maybe reevaluating what they had been doing and were they really happy. So that's number one. So many people felt that way. What I
Mhm.
loved what you just said a minute ago is that you heard a voice inside your head when you were thinking, well, I love that you considered something else that you were passionate about, that you
Right.
liked, that you like I love working with children and your background can really lend itself to
Mhm.
showing up really fully to be a counselor for children. And so I like entertaining that, but I also love that you said that you heard that voice and it was your father's voice. Um, like, well, why can't I open my own law firm? And you listen to it. So many of us women, we silence that intuition voice, that inner voice. Call it what you want. Call it God talking to you, call it the universe, but it's inside of us. God's
Yeah.
inside of it, the universe inside of us, your inner voice. This is not religion. I'm just saying whatever you call it. And I like how you heard it, but you heard it and then you listen to it. And then your next thing you said, which a former guest of mine, Melissa Davy, said is, okay, what do I need? And I have to share with you that every woman I speak to and I ask, what was your daring moment? It started with really a question.
It
So
is.
you're like, okay, so what do I need?
It is.
Continue. I had to
And
point
I
all that
agree
out.
with you. I think there is some inner being, some bigger purpose that is inside of you at all times. And it's your bigger purpose. And we do silence it because we're so stuck on the society and the norms around us instead of taking a second and looking inward at what we want to do. And then my question always, why not? Why not? So
I love
then
that your dad saw that for you first. I
he
love that.
he
I love
always believed in me. So, and sometimes that really helps having someone who can see things that you can't see in yourself. So it was taking that and thinking, why not? And when you get to really the root of why not, you typically realize there's no reason why not.
Yeah.
You keep making excuses, and as you keep breaking that down, once you get to the bottom of it, you're like, there's no why not.
Yeah.
There's just now what. So it's then formulating that plan. And the biggest thing is doing it. You have to do it.
And
That's
but you mentioned being scared to share your dream. There's a woman, Sheldon Bartlett Rumor. Do you know Sheldon?
no, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Oh, you got to know Sheldon. Well, we're going to get you to know Sheldon. Everybody needs to know Sheldon. Sheldon's like my mantra is dare on.
Mhm.
Hers is scream your dream. And I'm going to
Love.
quote her. Sheldon always ends her talks. She ends her show because she has a show. She has a global network. She always ends it with her mission, which is her wish is that all women will no longer whisper their wishes, but scream their dreams. So talk about the fear around telling people what you wanted to do.
It's true. It's the power of manifestation and seeing that for you. So it's when you can see your dream and you own it. When you make your dream a reality, like
Mm.
I'm living the dream. You live the dream and it just becomes real. It's the power of the mind. So when you shrink away from that, when you don't want to own it, when you're kind of hiding it, you haven't fully committed to it. It's coming past that fear of committing to it and saying, not I want a successful law firm. It's I have a successful law firm and I'm going to show everyone how successful it is. Recently, I told you I love working with kids. I agreed to coach a head varsity basketball team. I'm
Oh,
terrified. I don't know how to, I've never been a varsity coach before, but I realized the only thing stopping me was saying, I don't know how to do this. I do know how to do this. I know how to do
and you
this.
can learn
I
also.
That's what we're doing. And I've told the girls, this is my first time coaching. We're going to learn together, but we're going to do this. We're doing this.
Yeah,
So
love
it's
that.
instilling in that. And I almost said no. I almost said no because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I was like, what am I doing? Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, of course you
I
can.
love this and I love it. I have so much passion for it. So it was, again, though, you hear the doubt. You hear the doubt creep in. And it's just making sure that you're louder than it. You
I love
scream the
that.
dream over the doubt of who is saying I can't do this? I'm a firm believer that you can do anything you want as long as you set your mind to it, believe it, and take the steps.
So who was the first person you told?
I believe I texted my family. I think I took a picture of the logo I created and just sent it and said, I'm opening my own firm.
Yeah.
Um, and just the outpouring of love and support. I come
Yeah.
from a great family. And so, I wasn't at the strength of mindset I'm at now. So having that, the support, it was huge. And supports of colleagues and friends who also were like, this is amazing. Everyone was sharing it. I will never forget the moment I posted onto my personal Instagram a picture that I was gonna open my own law firm. I was terrified of the
Yeah.
but the outpouring of love and support, you think people are gonna judge you, but once you realize it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. You just gotta do what makes you happy, then everything is gonna fall into place.
Your people will are not the ones who are going to look at that and say, "Who is Caitlin to think she could do?" You're
Exactly.
the ones saying, "Who is Caitlin?" I mean, would you ever say that to your best friend? The people,
No.
and you've said this multiple times, and I'm going to say it straight up. Sometimes, a lot of times in our life, we need those people closest to us to believe in us fully before we can fully believe in ourselves. We
Absolutely.
need that cheerleader, that encouragement. There's somebody in my world, his name is Brian, who he saw the speaker in me before I did. He was like, it's time for you to be put on stage. I looked at him like, well, huh? I wanted it. Oh, I wanted it. I didn't tell anybody. But I'm also thinking, do I belong there? Like, what do I
That
have to
imposter
say?
syndrome.
Right.
Yeah.
The who am I to think that I can inspire people? Like, what's my story? It's not like and I didn't, I was in a whole community where there were serious trauma stories that people overcame. I didn't overcome any of those trauma stories. So, that was a whole nother situation. But I love how you said that you texted the logo. That's what a great way to reveal it. So,
Yes.
and it's our fear inside of it. But I like how you said, why me, then why not me? Right? Why not me?
Exactly.
All right. So it sounds like the people that you surrounded yourself with and some self-talk of your own really helped you push through the fear, the doubt, whatever you wanted to name it, holding you back. And is there anything else around fear and doubt you want to say? Because I want to ask, obviously, you have a successful perm, but do you remember the moment you took that, you gave yourself permission to take the step, even with the fear and doubt? And how did it feel?
So I have a great story that I was only probably a week into the firm. And I am, you need to see where their baby deer is born and they got the wobbly legs. That's me
Yes.
trying to decide if I should still even have this firm.
Mhm.
I'm terrified. I'm in a boys club. This is very hard space. There's a lot of marketing going on. I really don't know what I'm doing. And I hadn't built up my referrals. I was in a firm, so I didn't think I had to network. I was mistaken, I did. But so I received a message when I post on LinkedIn that I had my own firm from someone who was well known in the space and said, come on in, let's meet, let's see if we can network. I'm like, great, this is so exciting. I don't know this person. We never met before. Didn't know anything about me. And in that meeting, my first ever networking meeting, he told me I couldn't do this and I needed to join a firm with one of the well-known firms who are all male-owned big law firms. That was the best thing for me because this was going to not work out.
Wow.
So I drove in 45 minutes to get there. I leave the meeting and I am sitting in my car now, like, wait, uh-oh. I was just told I'm gonna fail. And you would never, I didn't expect that going in. This man doesn't know me.
Mm,
And you would think it like I made that story up because you would hear that and be like, yeah,
right.
no, that happened. And it's still to date, that moment. I remember sitting in my car and at first being terrified and shaky and, uh-oh, maybe I should close this down. That was brief. And then it turned into, who the hell does he think he is? I'm gonna show him. So it was that moment where I took that and was like, he
Mm.
doesn't know me. And this just like fueled me to be like, I'm going to show him
Yes.
who he thinks where I need to be. He has reached out to me multiple times over the past couple years to network and referral source now. And I'm like, I bet he doesn't even remember this. I bet he has no recollection
Wow.
of saying that to me. But that was one of the moments still where I tell people, like, it's not going to be easy. Like, you are going to get challenged, but you have to just stay true and push through. It's that dare. Daring
And who,
requires over
yeah.
fear.
And
And
who is he? He's somebody who didn't even know you. So I would venture, was he in a big law firm?
no, he was in a medical field.
Oh,
So it was just kind of like,
stop.
what? But
Okay,
the
you
thing
want to
is, you're
know?
going to have naysayers. You're going to
You
have
want to,
naysayers.
yeah, but you want to know my take on him?
Yes, I do.
He saw this bold, daring, brave woman about to step out on her own, something that he had thought of and never done himself. And because a lot of times the people who tell you, the people that try to squash your dreams, they don't even realize they're trying to squash, they don't do it on purpose.
Right. They're
It's because
projecting.
it's a reflection of them not going for their dreams and their goals. So shame on him. And it also reminds me of Brene Brown. If you're not in the arena with me, you don't get to say, you don't get a word. You don't get a voice. You don't get a vote. You don't get to say anything.
Exactly.
No.
I was, oh man, I think I
Oh,
texted someone like a colleague, a male colleague, and told him because I knew he knew him. And his response back was, "Who cares what he has to say?" And I was like, I needed you to
yeah.
tell
No,
me.
good for you. I mean, you're allowed
Yeah.
to feel it. You're a normal, we're a
Oh,
human being,
yeah.
but I'm so happy you pushed through. That was a very good
Uh,
example of pushing through fear and doubt when somebody else, especially if you already have a level of fear and angst and excitement, because fear and excitement
yes.
about doing it, and then somebody tells you, no, don't, it's too hard. You're like, it's easy to say, you know what, you're right. What I was saying to myself was true, but you
Right.
didn't do that, and I'm proud of you. Yay.
Thank you. I still think yeah, I still think about that
No,
moment.
sure. Oh my God, I love that. All right, so thank you. All right, now
Yeah.
I want to move on. So many daring moments in that story, but I want to move on to something that is really common, a common feeling and thought amongst our listeners for the show and the women in my Moms Who Dare community. And even in my Dare On membership community, many of these women in this chapter of our life, midlife and beyond, and I'm talking about 45 on up, even into our 70s, they feel disconnected. They feel stuck or disconnected to their dreams, either because they gave up everything. If you're a mother, they gave up everything to be a full-time working mom. I say that on very intentionally because being a full-time mom is working.
Oh, yes, it is.
Or they wanted to become, they wanted to do something in the artistic world or the spiritual world, but everybody told them that's not really feasible or reasonable. You can't make a living doing that. Whatever it is, they gave up on themselves. Or they walked away temporarily because of a good reason, but they're still stuck and feel disconnected with their dreams or even how to get back in touch with what it is they want. So, is there a simple step, tool, or strategy that you could recommend to somebody who knows they want something more, that there is something more waiting for them, because that's what happened to me. I knew there was something bigger waiting for me. I didn't know what. And is there anything you can share with them?
Well, I think we all sometimes have that. It's almost like an itch. You can't figure, there's something going on with you where there's an itch you can't find, And there's just a sense of you're not totally fulfilled. You love your life, you love what you did, but then it gets to a point and it's almost like when you're shedding your skin. And I think we have different stages of life as we continue to elevate and pursue our passions. And what I always was doing once I got to this point of, once I realized the power of my mindset, the power of you can do anything you set your mind to, it's really sitting with yourself and kind of observing your thoughts. You know, when you start to question why not, you watch yourself make up excuses and put yourself back in the box where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
So that continuingly question, well, why not? Well, why not? And it's not just a one question, because once you get to the answer, you then have to go to the next level on the next
Right.
level
Right.
and continue to question it and then unpack it. Well, what is the reason you want to do this? What's the reason you don't want to do this? Even if, some people aren't sure what they want to do, they just have a passion for this. So
Yes.
sit with it, explore it, write down ideas of what you think would be cool. I love writing things down. I will just start writing and then
Yeah.
things just come to me and I'm like, that's great. I love that idea. Let's go further with that.
Yes.
I think it's then once you start to just really really start to question
Mm.
things and let yourself be free to not stop yourself. Sometimes you'll be like, well, that's crazy in your head. But then you think, well, why is it
Why
crazy?
is it crazy? Right.
Why is it? I was driving somewhere the other day and the moon was beautiful. And I have
Oh, it was
never
a full moon. As we're recording
beautiful.
this, even though this is much
Oh,
later, it's airing much later, but it was a full harvest
it was
moon.
a beautiful moon. And I've never wanted to be an astronaut, but I was driving and I was like, oh man, I would love to go see that moon. And my first thought was like, well, that's crazy. I could never be an astronaut. And then I was like, wait, why not? If I right now decided my life goal is to be an astronaut, I could become an astronaut. So why is there a self-limiting immediate thought of that's crazy, you can't do that?
Right.
You then have to, we're going to have those natural doubts,
Yeah.
but it's that next step of, hold on, why am I stopping myself? Why not? And then when you break it down, you realize there's really nothing there besides you. All you
Yeah.
have to do
I
is
love
take
that.
the steps.
I
So
love
it's,
that.
I truly believe anyone can do anything as long as they can visualize it and they want to go after it.
Oh, now you're speaking my manifestation language. And by the way, for you, for our fellow spiritual woos out there, manifestation is real. It's real. And you
It
can
is
call it
real.
magic. Now, for my really logical left brain people, I'm going to break it down easy. Manifestation is simply aligning your thoughts with your actions. Boom. And
It
making,
is.
excuse me, making shit happen. It really
It's
is.
true.
Yeah.
I'm very logical,
Yeah.
but I also
Oh,
I
you.
think there's magic out in the world. And for years I denied that. And
Yeah.
something was weird with my spirituality. I couldn't figure out until I finally let myself start to believe
Yeah.
the woo-woo. And now I feel
Yes.
aligned. I feel like I figured things out and
Yeah.
life has been beautiful.
I love it. That's a whole other conversation around
It
that. But I,
is.
I love, I love that. It starts with, a brain dump. Like, what are things that you think that you could want to do? What looks cool? And then why not? And
Yeah.
here's the other thing. The great thing about that, entertaining the possibility of even what you would consider the most far-fetched dream for yourself, is that when you write down what it might take, what you would need, who you would need to surround yourself with to get there, then you can really sit down and say, do I really want to do that or not? And it might be yes, and it might be no, and then you move on to the next one. It's like a good thing. Yeah.
Yes. And you surround yourself, it's like we
Mhm.
said with people, when you
Yes.
start to really align and go after your dreams, you might lose some people, but you're going to attract
Yeah.
so
I
many
know.
people that support you and your
Yeah.
passion. So it's really, people are scared to lose things. You gain
Yeah.
so much when
You
you
do.
follow your dreams and your passions.
So do. So true. All
Yeah.
right, Caitlin, I have my final two questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, we will link to where you can connect and how you can find Caitlin below. Before I get into my last two questions, what's your area of specialty in law?
We represent injured workers against insurance companies. So we do workers' compensation litigation.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's important to know. All right. I've asked many of my guests this question. There is a phrase out there, and I think Oprah coined it. living your best life. And I love the phrase, and yet I find it dangerous because I think living our best life is really subjective and we each have a definition. So how would you describe, like, when you hear living your best life, what does that look like or mean for you?
I think that living your best life is pursuing what excites you the most with your highest integrity and with absolute complete presence in your now and giving it your all and just being in alignment, observing your thoughts and always leading from positivity from within. No matter what's going on in the world around you, you will attract what you emit. And I just truly believe in that.
Love that. Love that definition. Love it. Love it. All right. The final is our dare. I mean, we're called Dare On with Jodi, for goodness sakes. So, what is a dare that you have for our listeners?
This is probably not what people are expecting me to say, but it goes to the woo-woo. Meditating. Meditating has been life-changing for me in the past 2 to 3 years, and doing it with full presence, commitment, and going in with an open heart and mind. I find that meditating is quite a beautiful thing that everyone can do, and it's very helpful.
I love that. So, dare to try. If you don't already, if you don't meditate, dare to try meditation. And if you already do it, but you do it sporadically, dare to adopt a regular practice of meditation. I love that. Dare to meditate.
There
Dare
to
to,
meditate.
yeah. Thank you, Kaitlin. Your story is great. I'm really grateful for you and all the other women that dare to come on here and share the vulnerability of sharing our stories, of the fears we had. And because I think it's when we're vulnerable enough to share with our audience what really held us back, I think we're all so much more alike than we are different. And I appreciate that. I'm grateful for you being here.
Thank you for having me on. And this friendship, this podcast right now, I think this is actually proof of speaking my truth, being here, being able to share this with other women and connecting with someone who aligns with what I am doing. It's living proof of everything I believe and that we talked about. I just think it's wonderful. And thank you so much for having this platform. I love this. I
Thank you.
love helping other women get to the place where they find their passion. So I think what you do is absolutely beautiful and so meaningful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kaitlin. Dare on. Are you ready to bet on you? Because here's what Kaitlin reminded us. The real daring moment doesn't happen when everything is figured out. It happens when you take the step anyway. When you say, why not me? And really mean it. You've got that same voice inside. The one whispering, nudging, maybe even shouting that there's something more out there for you. Listen to it. And if fear or self-doubt is still creeping in, start where it matters most, with how you speak to yourself. The Self-Talk Cleanup 7-Day Mini Challenge in the show notes is my gift to help you shift that inner dialogue starting today. And hey, if you're craving real support and sisterhood for this daring chapter, come find your people inside the Dare On Circle community. We're all waiting to welcome you. The link is below. And if you really love this episode, dare to leave a review. What you say to us matters most. Until next time, bet on yourself because I'm betting on you. Dare on.